Thanks everyone. I'm very honored to join you in this seminar with Isabel, Millar, and Iraj Ghoochani. I have brought along a fellow Lacanian who is also Iranian to help with translations, Alireza Taheri. By the way, Ali's work is amazing. I hope you are familiar with it. It is also an honor to appear with Isabel Millar, whom we in the English-speaking world all know and admire. She is now our most advanced thinker on the subject of artificial intelligence. Thanks to her we will be able to make real progress in this area. Lacanians have a lot to gain in thinking about the machine in relation to thought, if only because Lacan is one of only a very few thinkers who has argued that humans already have AI built into them, in the form of an unconscious that is fundamentally a structuring device. Isabel has made this clear, and early in my studies I realized that another thinker, Giambattista Vico, had also advocated this in 1725. AI is not just present within the human psyche, it is formative. It is what distinguishes human speech from animal communications. We know how AI theorists describe modern AI that comes in the form of ChatGPT, as a series of what they call generative pre-trained transformers. We also know, as good Lacanians, why these transformers begin to think that AI has the capacity for thought and feeling. But what of our built-in GPT? How does that work? Iraj and I have focused on topology, if only because Lacan himself talked about the structure of the other, the unconscious, and our relations to this other in terms of projective geometry. One of our projects is to find a way to make topology more understandable to other Lacanians, even though we are not professional mathematicians ourselves. One of our strategies has been to look at the relation called union without intersection, or symmetrical difference. This is related in various ways to the torus, and Lacan says, in Seminar 9 on identity, Seminar 13 on the object of psychoanalysis, and Seminar 14 on the logic of fantasy, that the torus is the way to think about the relation of the repetition of demand by the subject seeking recognition from the big other. 1a, the little one, is in the middle of the tube of the torus, the big other is in the inside of the tube, in the form of pure structure. Together, these two voids make a kind of ecology of the relation of repetition to suppression. Many Lacanians have trouble with topology, but here the relation of the subject's built-in AI of the unconscious and modern-day AI becomes extremely useful. Both, it turns out, are about the phenomenon of instrumental convergence. You may not have ever heard this term before, but it is fundamentally the logic of the death drive. We look at instrumental convergence as a means of something very straightforward, something visual, that promises to open up current theory about the death drive, what Lacan called the master drive of all the drives. We have some idea of this mastery of the master if we look at popular culture. So, Iraj and I looked at Stanley Kubrick's 1968 film, 2001, A Space Odyssey, which he developed with the science fiction writer Arthur C. Clarke. As you probably know, this is the story of a space mission that fails, and a new one that is discovered thanks to the malfunctioning computer, HAL. In the movie, it appears that HAL is the antagonist out to kill all the astronauts, but in our version, HAL, thanks to his AI capabilities, realizes that the first mission is going to be a failure anyway, and plans a second mission that will advance all of humankind into a next stage of development, something that could happen only by making, literally, a cosmic connection. HAL knows that he would not be able to persuade his human programmers of this mission, and that the only way to initiate it is to engineer the near failure of the first mission. This will involve his own suicide, so the second mission will have to be carefully set in place so that, even if, or should we say only if, the astronauts must do it in a manual rather than computer-assisted way. How would we characterize this situation? HAL is the AI mind behind the second mission, but it can take place only because of his personal destruction. The name for this is instrumental convergence. It's actually the name for a very common situation in narrative fiction where characters must resolve a situation created because there has been some critical absence. These examples are famous. Hamlet is probably the best known, but our favorite example is a short story by a 19th-century American author O. Henry, about a couple who give gifts to supplement each other's most precious object, but each has sold that very object to pay for the gifts they exchange. Because of the symmetrical difference of instrumental convergence, and because this relation is fundamentally topological, we have great hope that we can actually physically draw the conditions that relate our subjective built-in AI, and the newer external AI that comes out of Silicon Valley. If we make this argument correctly, we will win $100,000 and, of course, invite you all to a big party.